In light of that, a really interesting one I want to post it. I was going to give you some sections examples, but I thought, when people look at a section, and you see this in a lot of results. So when you see, let's say, a discovery like Hemi, or maybe even your Andy Well days, and you see that line of section, you go, wow, yeah, you know, 40 meters at this or 30 meters, you're going, yeah, well, this is a discovery.
Yeah.
And so when you see that or 5 meters at 2 grams, substandard grade, not great grades, but not low grade. How can you sort of look at that and go, well, and make a judgment call where they are?
Yeah.
Not taking to the big 50 meters at this or whatever.
Yeah. So I guess a couple of things I would look at. I would look at the depth of that intersection, how far it is below the surface. Is it 20 metres below the surface, or is it 420 metres below the surface, right? So there's an economic factor there. With the current gold price, you can push the grade down a lot more than you could, say, 10, 20 years ago. As a rule of thumb, you probably want somewhere about 50 gram metres is sort of a good
You want to explain
benchmark.
what that actually...
So 50 gram metres. So, if you had 10 metres at 5, you multiply the 10 by the 5, and that's 50 gram metres. That's like the grade width of the intersection. So, you probably get a bit lower than that these days at the current gold price. But I would want to see that sort of intersection, 40 to 50 gram metres, but then I would want to see it on consecutive sections. Continuity between sections.
Yeah.
And also you've got to look then at what the distance is between those sections. If you're drilling down to sort of less than maybe 25 metres between sections, you're looking at a pretty short strike length.
Yeah.
But that's what I'd start looking at. I'd look at the depth below surface at the intersection starts, and then I'd look to see what the continuity is like between sections to work out whether you can draw a box around it.
Yeah.
And then work out a grade and volume and stuff like that. So the other thing you got to be careful of too is supergene gold. Like you can get really high supergene gold numbers, especially in the shallow parts. And typically you get a kick sort of at not really a contact, but at the boundary between the sort of saprolite and the bedrock as a result of water and stuff. So you can quite often get 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 grams on maybe a metre or two of supergene, but then nothing below it. And we've seen that at Gidgee, right? So you've got to be careful sometimes when you look at assays, and you might see a number that's reported as, 20 metres at 5, but then if they've done the right thing and actually reported the individual assays, you might see that 20 metres at 5 is actually one sample with a high supergene gold number, and it's been smeared out intentionally or not intentionally over a wider interval to make it look better than it is.
Yeah.
So I'd just be careful of that too, especially in those sort of shallow bits. When it's in hard bedrock, you don't see that, but when it's shallow, you just got to be careful of that as well.